This is a coming out party, official declaration on MSNBC. They're not dancing around the issue anymore, just flat out, yep, your kids don't belong to you. This isn't about Melissa Harris Perry, who went to Jeremiah Wright's church, is a political science professor at Tulane University. This isn't about a woman who on Easter called preborn babies things.
But the reality is that if this turns into a person, right, there are economic consequences, right? The cost to raise a child, $10,000 a year, up to $20,000 a year, when you're talking about what it actually costs to have this thing turn into a human.
This thing. Wow. Gee, if I were Comcast, I sure would carry some balance on my cable company, especially since Comcast owns MSNBC. This is a promo that is not an accident. I know, I run a network. MSNBC knows exactly who they hired. This shoot was there for promos. It was all scripted out. It went through editing. It was reviewed. All promos are. NBC brass comes up, well, show me what you got here. They roll it. Well, that's the damnedest thing I've ever seen. You don't think somebody said, I don't know if that's going to jive with the American people, because nobody said that? They knew full well what they were airing. They are airing an announcement that your kids do not belong to you. And if they get enough heat, they'll say, oh, that's not what she meant. Oh, yes, it is. But I bet you they won't get a lot of heat, because a lot of people believe what she does. Let me tell you something. If you understand what I'm saying, if you have ears to hear and eyes to see, look into transformational education. This will keep you up at night. It is the lifeblood of Common Core. Everyone from Bill Gates to GE, who's pushing Common Core, talk about transformational education. Let me quote. The Common Core will require transformational change, the type of change that many believe cannot be accomplished. Oh, that's Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I love this title. The Council of Chief State School Officers described Common Core as, quote, transforming instruction for every child. GE calls it a transformation of expectations for student learning across the country. Great. But look it up. Transformational education. Ooh. When you look it up, kind of dicey. Why? Well, here's what transformative education or learning actually is defined as. Perspective transformation. And it has 3 dimensions. First one, psychological. That means a change in the understanding of who you are as the student. 2, convictional. Things you're convicted, I believe in these things. A revision of your belief system. Behavioral change. A change in the way you behave, the way you live your life. And if you go back to the promo, she said, we just have to break out of that individual thinking. They have to break you from old traditions and move you into a new place. Sound familiar?
And Barack knows that we are going to have to make sacrifices. We are going to have to change our conversation. We're going to have to change our traditions, our history. We're going to have to move into a different place as a nation to provide the kind of future that we all want desperately for our children.
This is why they took her off the campaign trail after she said that. You have to break us. Then there's Woodrow Wilson, who also said, quote, the purpose of a university should be to make a son as much unlike his father as possible, targeting America's youth and remolding them closer to their heart's desire. If you don't think that's happening, let me show you a story that we talked about that maybe you didn't understand is transformational learning. Remember, you have to do something that shocks the system and gets you to break old habits and old thinking. There was a story in Florida. A professor called his students and said, hey, you know, what I want you to do is I want you to write Jesus on a piece of paper and then stomp on it. Did you hear anybody ask, well, what's the point of that? Well, they just want to ask why. Why does that make you feel bad? Okay, I can tell you why that makes, and I don't have to stomp on it. Why do I do that? Why do I have to take that piece of paper and stomp on it? Because action changes things. It's why reading out loud helps you remember things, because you're using more than one sense. You were taught that it was disrespectful to stomp on Jesus. You wouldn't do it. It's disrespectful to God. No, it's not a big deal. It's just a symbol. Stomp on it. Do it, do it, do it. That's transformational learning. MSNBC has one thing right. We are progressing forward. The only problem is nobody ever shows you the destination. And that is by design. Every other time this model has been tried in history, it has ended up in work camps at best. It has nothing to do with a billionaire mayor telling you how to live your life, or a creepy behavioral scientist like Cass Sunstein making you nudge into different choices. It's about something else. Okay, so we can sit and complain about it, but as I said, hurry. So it's not enough. We have to find a better way forward. The right path is maximum freedom and maximum responsibility, and it has very little to do with what America is or has been in the last 100 years. A place where you are 100% responsible for yourself and your kids, your family. Where no one talks down to you and tells you, you don't know how to parent, you've got to build your house. None of that. But responsibility is a dicey thing. Many people are going to willingly succumb to the line that she said, because parenting isn't easy. Parenting is overwhelming. Parenting is humbling. It makes you realize almost immediately, wow, I don't know jack. It makes you question yourself. You make mistakes. And there's always plenty of people that will be happy to point out your mistakes and happily point you to the progressives that will come to your rescue, saying, I do know a better way to raise your child. Let me relieve you of that burden. And in this society, I'll bet you there's 30%. They would say, oh, you're going to take care of my child, I don't have to worry about it, go for it. But warning. If you gladly give your responsibility to someone else, it comes with a price. You hand over a good portion of your freedom as well. Tonight, we begin the step toward maximum freedom and maximum responsibility, the alternative to what America is becoming.